Well, here we go again, everybody. CHRISTY, one of the biggest crooks ever to come down the line, has about a 20% favorable rating in the state of New Jersey. He's been out of the state more than he's been in it. He says that when he's out of it, that the second in charge, if she's quite capable of running the state, well then why the fuck does he stay as governor? How can he draw a damn check in any kind of honesty while he's out tromping around with Donald Trump? Now, the problem comes in the fact that this asshole could end up as Attorney General if Trump were ever to get elected. And it looks more unlikely by the minute that Trump will get elected. But something surfaced today in the records of the New Jersey Treasury that Trump, when his casinos went bankrupt, he owed the state $25 million in back taxes. Now, CNN isn't reporting this, and neither is ABC or NBC or any other bastards, because they're afraid they'll lose access to the biggest shill they've got going, and that is interviewing Donald Trump. Now, he owed $25 million, and CHRISTY was governor at the time, and all of a sudden that they settle for $5 million. $20 million the New Jersey taxpayers got screwed out of, and Christie says, oh, I don't know anything about it. How the fuck can you run a state and know nothing about it? You know nothing about Bridgegate. You know nothing about anything that's going on in your fucking state. When people get flooded out, you tell them, what am I supposed to do, bring down a mop and a bucket? This is the lowest form of political life, perhaps with the exception of Donald Trump and this new jerk that they just hired. I forget the guy's name, but he's the new assassin on personalities and all, and he'll be the Karl Rove for the 21st century. But Trump, who claims to be a graduate, and he probably is, because it would be too easy to check if he wasn't, from Wharton School in Pennsylvania, which is a good economic school. But the problem is that in that school you cannot get a degree without taking some course that explains what a telescoped inference is, whether it's a beginning course in philosophy or a beginning course in logic or a business course. A telescoped inference is an implied inference that you don't just come straight out and say this A equals A implies B and B implies C. But a telescoped inference has as much bearing, and that's what Trump does consistently, is he takes the telescoped inference, whether he made the story up 100% or whatever, and he keeps repeating it, that the president and Hillary Clinton are responsible for ISIS. No, they're not. You know how ISIS came into being was when Bush went in and destroyed all the infrastructure. Then they set up a government in which Malachi refused to allow any members of the Ba'ath Party, which ran the whole fucking show, which were Sunnis, to take part in the government. So even though the infrastructure could slowly be rebuilt at our American taxpayers' expense, which was a totally insane procedure in the first place. You take out a bridge, you don't take out all the bridges, you take out a power line, you don't take out the power plant, but under shock and awe, we leveled every fucking thing in the country, and then had to fit the bill to rebuild it, and then we had no one that could run any of it because the Ba'aths were outlawed from running anything, and they were the Sunnis with all the knowledge. So we allowed a Shia government to come in, suppress the Sunnis so bad that they had to build, that many Sunnis had to flee their homes and move into little enclaves, and we built walls around them, just like the Israelis do with the Palestinians, and we created, in that process under Bush. We created ISIS because the Sunnis decided to fight back and to try to reclaim their rule in Iraq. Now, anybody that knows history, and we've gone over the House of CROOK and all that a couple times already, should have realized this. You can't outlaw the people with brains, unless the people that are doing the outlawing have no brains. And Bush was surely one of the biggest idiots as president that has ever existed. No sense of history, had no background in history. But anyway, so we have the telescoped inference. We have so many things with Trump that he states, and then he backs him up, and then he backs him up again, and then 2 days later, when everybody's hammering on his head, when the RNC is hammering on his head, then he comes out and says, "Oh, no, it was just sarcasm." Well, there's a big difference between a telescoped inference and sarcasm, and somebody better start pinning him the fuck down on these things. If he claims to be so smart and he claims to be a graduate of Wharton, then he certainly knows what a telescoped inference is, and somebody should put his foot to the fire and point it out to him that you cannot make these gross implications and then later deny that there's any implication there at all.